The late afternoon sun painted Central Park in a soft amber glow, the trees swaying gently as if in rhythm with the calmness that hovered in the summer air. It was the kind of day that felt paused between seasons, warm, quiet, and dreamlike. James Whitaker walked at a slow, thoughtful pace, his daughter's small fingers laced trustingly into his. Emily, now 6, had her mother's playful curls and her father's sharp, expressive eyes. She wore a pink cotton dress Claire had bought for her before she passed, and on her wrist dangled a simple bracelet James had given her that morning. This walk, like every Saturday walk since Claire died, was sacred, a tradition wrapped in grief, love, and memory. These were the moments James held onto, as if they were the only things keeping him from slipping into despair. Since losing Claire to cancer 2 years earlier, his world had narrowed to the size of one small hand. The tiny fingers of the girl beside him. Raising Emily alone had been the hardest, most transformative journey of his life. His grief lived just beneath the surface, but he had found strength in her laughter, purpose in her curiosity, and healing in their shared rituals. They strolled past the carousel, the low hum of distant music fading behind them. The path ahead curled gently. Around a group of benches near the old fountain, birds fluttered in the tree branches, and somewhere nearby, a musician played soft guitar chords that blended into the ambient hush of the park. Then, it happened. Emily stopped so suddenly that James nearly stumbled. She tugged on his hand, her voice loud and certain. "Daddy, that's my brother." James turned sharply toward her. "What?" She pointed with an unwavering hand, toward the park bench, up ahead. "Right there, by the fountain. That boy, he looks like me." "And you take..." He followed her gaze. A small boy, maybe 5 or 6, sat, alone, on the edge of the stone bench. His legs swung just above the gravel. A ragged cardboard box rested in his lap, held tightly as if it were the most precious thing he owned. His clothes were threadbare, too light for the breeze, and his shoes were frayed, the sole of one nearly detached. Yet it wasn't his condition that gripped James, it was his face, his expression, and most of all, his eyes. Those eyes. Bright, crystalline blue, the exact same shade James saw in the mirror every morning, the same color that glimmered from Emily's face. James's heart stuttered in his chest. He swallowed, tried to shake it off, and crouched beside Emily. "Sweetheart, that's not your brother," he said gently, but there was a tremble in his voice. "You don't have a brother." But Emily didn't look convinced. "He is. I just know it. Look at him. Look at his eyes." The boy glanced up, meeting James's stare. There was no fear, just a quiet, haunting curiosity. His gaze didn't waver. It was the kind of gaze that knew how to study people, how to remain silent and invisible while seeing everything. James's throat tightened. He stepped forward slowly, Emily's hand still in his. When they reached the bench, James knelt beside the child. "Hey there," he said, keeping his voice light. "My name's James. And this is Emily. We were just walking through the park." The boy didn't speak. His fingers curled tighter around the box. James tried again. "Can we sit with you a moment?" The boy shrugged slightly. James lowered himself to the edge of the bench, keeping his movements calm. Emily sat cross-legged on the grass in front of the boy, her eyes shining with the wonder only children possess. "I like your box," she said. "What's in it?" The boy finally spoke, his voice barely a whisper. "My stuff." "What's your name?" James asked, gently. "Noah." The name rang in James's ears like a long-forgotten melody. "Hi, Noah," he said softly. "That's a strong name. Do you live around here?" "Near 43rd, the boy said, eyes still guarded. "Is your mom nearby?" "She's home, sleeping." James frowned. "Is she okay?" The boy hesitated. "She's sick. Sometimes she doesn't wake up for a long time." "Do you have anyone else?" "A dad." Noah shook his head, his eyes suddenly downcast. "Mama said he left a long time ago." James's world spun. Mary Carter. Her name appeared in his mind like a ghost, a quiet woman with golden hair and soft-spoken intelligence. She had worked as a receptionist at his company years ago. She never stood out, never complained. Then one day, she was accused of misfiling critical documents. He remembered vaguely he was traveling, had too many things on his plate. He never asked questions, just approved the termination and moved on. She disappeared. There had been emails, 1 or 2, flagged as unread, buried under a sea of reports and merger proposals. Could this be her son? Could this be his son? His hands trembled. He reached into the small pack Emily carried, pulled out a sandwich she had brought along for later, and offered it to Noah. "You hungry?" Noah stared at it, then slowly reached out and accepted it with a quiet, almost reverent, "Thank you." As Noah nibbled slowly, Emily leaned forward, her voice sweet and cheerful. "Your eyes are like mine. Daddy says mine are special. Yours are too." The boy looked at her, blinking. A small smile formed, unsure but real. Asterisk James couldn't breathe. The resemblance was undeniable now. His gaze flicked from Noah to Emily and back again. The same cheekbones, the same arch in their brows. The same eyes that Claire used to trace with her finger while rocking Emily to sleep. Asterisk, he stood quickly and called his assistant. Monica, I need everything you can find on a former employee. Mary Carter. Worked here about 6 years ago. Reception, start with HR. Old addresses. Anything. Asterisk, yes, Mr. Whitaker. Asterisk, James watched Noah and Emily from a few feet away. She had handed him her stuffed bunny. He held it like a sacred object, unsure what to do with something so soft. Asterisk, James returned. Knelt again. Noah, would you like to come with us? We can get you something warm to eat. We'll take you back after. Just want to make sure you're okay. Asterisk, the boy didn't answer for a moment. Then he nodded. Asterisk, that evening, James brought Noah into his penthouse. The moment the elevator doors opened, Noah froze, overwhelmed by the pristine floors, the high ceilings, the glass walls revealing the Manhattan skyline. Asterisk, it's okay, James said, gently touching his shoulder. You're safe. Asterisk, Emily dashed into her room. Come on, Noah, you have to see the stars on my ceiling. Noah walked cautiously, still clutching his box. James retreated to his office, unlocked a drawer, pulled the dusty employee files. Mary Carter's folder slid free. There she was. Her smile, soft and full of unspoken hope. She had worked at the company only 8 months, let go over what was described as a critical error. James closed his eyes. There had been another email. She had tried to reach out, no response. Her emergency contact form listed a Brooklyn address. Asterisk, he typed it into his browser. A basement unit in a building riddled with graffiti and water stains. Asterisk, his heart sank. Asterisk, later, while Emily and Noah built a fort in the living room, James made a call to a private charity. Send groceries, medicine, cleaning items. Quietly, no note. Asterisk, the next morning, he sat the children down for pancakes and fruit. We're going on a trip, he said, to meet someone. Noah looked nervous. In the car, as they approached the crumbling building on 43rd, James's palms began to sweat. He knocked on the door of apartment 4B. Mary Carter opened the door. Her hair was tied back, her face thinner than he remembered, her eyes still sharp. Asterisk, Noah, she whispered, then dropped to her knees and wrapped him in her arms. She looked up. James, we need to talk, he said, her face hardened. You have a lot of nerve. Coming here. Asterisk, I didn't know, he said quietly. I swear, I never saw the emails. Asterisk, I tried. I begged. Then I was fired. Pregnant. Alone. Asterisk, James's voice cracked. Is he my son? Asterisk, she paused, then nodded, a tear escaping. Yes. Asterisk, he fell to his knees. Please, let me help. I won't take him. I just want to know him. Asterisk, Mary let him in. Asterisk, the rest of the story unfolds in emotional, messy, beautiful layers. James facing the boardroom fallout when the media uncovers his secret child. Emily embracing her brother completely. Mary cautiously allowing James back into her life, but only for Noah's sake. Their shared moments become more frequent: weekends, school events, birthdays, a picnic in Central Park, fireflies in their backyard, a drawing labeled Our Family Forever, a whispered dad from Noah as they rebuild a toppled tower of blocks together. Asterisk, and in time, the quiet between James and Mary softens too. Asterisk, in a world so fractured, they find something rare, not perfection, but forgiveness. Not magic, but healing. Asterisk, and so it ends. Not with dramatic music or grand speeches, but with 4 people on a porch swing, sharing one blanket, under a sky that seems just a little more whole.